ticket. You just thank the Lord. Welcome, viewing audience and listening audience, to the People Get Ready video podcast with the legendary political guru, Mr. Charles E. Bibbs from Bibb's Record Shop. Tonight we have some hot breaking news for you all tonight. We have some great information. And we have the CEO, the president of People Get Ready, Mr. Charles E. Bibbs himself is here tonight to introduce to you and to bring to you our guests and the hot breaking news all the way from East Cleveland, Ohio, is the man himself, by the way of Bratton, Ohio, Mr. Charles E. Bibb Sr. Take it away, Mr. Bibbs.
All right. Thank you, Reverend Ben Fair. Great introduction.
Yes, sir.
Great song. People do get ready because a lot of things getting ready to happen in the next 3 or 4 months.
Yes, sir.
So fasten your seatbelt. And one of the things getting ready to happen, Miss Candace Jones is going to bring us some brand new news, Reverend.
All right.
SNAP partners have gave us new opportunities to make more money
All right.
with the same opportunity we had before without spending any money.
All right.
And we always like to make more money without spending money. Miss Candace Jones, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Bibb. So as Mr. Bibb mentioned, you've heard us talk about SNAP Partners over the past few months. Well, SNAP Partners, one of the divisions is SNAP Financial, and we've talked about the ERC program, Employee Retention Tax Credit, where a business can get tax credits for if they had were affected by COVID. Well, all along we were talking about, well, it would be great if something could be available for self-employed people. Well, guess what? There is. That's where SETC comes in, SETC. That stands for Self-Employed Tax Credit. And this is, again, money coming from the IRS, and it's a tax credit based on taxes that you paid in 2020 and 2021 for self-employed employees, 1099 employees. You've had to have filed a Schedule C for 2020 and 2021, and there's a process that you go through, answer some questions. It'll identify whether you qualify for a tax credit, and then if you do, you take the next step, joins an associate in SNAP, does all the filing of the paperwork for you to the IRS. They will stand up with you or for you if you are audited for any reason, so there's no worries about that. But it's a great opportunity for those that are self-employed that were affected by COVID. And this could be someone that maybe had COVID and they were out, they couldn't work or whatever. They can get a tax credit for that. A question was asked about a husband and wife. What if a husband and wife both filed the Schedule C? Could they both have a tax credit? And yes, they could. It would be 2 separate filings, but they could possibly both qualify for a tax credit. If you had to stay at home because schools were closed, you can get a tax credit that way. If you had COVID and maybe some of your family members did as well. So it's a lot of process go through to see if you qualify. If you didn't have COVID, but maybe you were taking care of a family member that had COVID, you can possibly qualify for a tax credit as well. So if you have any further questions, you can either contact Mr. Bibb or me, and we can get you started or get your questions answered. There is a call that's going to be going on tonight, and for everyone that received our traffic agenda schedule for this evening, it was in there as well, in that email. There's a call tonight to talk in more detail about the tax credit, how you file for the tax credit, and what the process is. There's a series of about 10 questions it asks, and then it takes you to the next step to see if you qualify for the first phase. But it doesn't cost you anything to fill that information out and see if you do qualify. And this is for self-employed employees. It's a different process than ERC for the businesses, but yet it is beneficial for those as well. So look forward to everybody
That
being on the
sounds
call.
exciting.
Or if you have any questions, you can either contact me, 216-570-4738, or you can contact Mr. Bibb, 216-681-4619.
Okay, couple of questions for the audience. Ms. Candace Jones? If a person was just in business by themselves, they'll be eligible?
They'll be eligible if they filed a Schedule C for their for 2020 and 2021. And I know during the 2020 and 2021, some of the tax filings were deferred because of COVID. So at some point, you filed for an extension. So if you filed for an extension, so right now for 2020, the filing deadline is April 15th, 2024. But if you had an extension, then it would be October 15th, 2024.
Okay. There are a lot of small businesses, one person,
Right,
that'll be eligible for the same money small and medium businesses
Right.
and large businesses get.
and it could be, it could be a hairdresser, it could be a nail
Barber,
technician.
right,
Yeah. It could be an
Okay.
Uber driver.
right. Yeah. Now, so we'll get more information tonight on the call,
Right,
and we'll have information for this weekend, and we'll also have information. They should have some printed material and everything else to go along with this,
right,
because we're going to go out. It's easier to find the small one-person operations, because it's a lot of those, a lot more than large businesses. In fact, that's what this country is built up on, small businesses. And now they got an opportunity to get the same money from the Internal Revenue Service. That is really,
right,
unfair. It just sounds good, getting money from the Internal Revenue Service. It's always the other way,
Right.
the money going in.
Right.
They're seldom to come out
Right.
on programs.
and this is legitimate, it's all legitimate.
All right.
So,
That's for the check. It's coming right from Internal Revenue.
right.
Okay.
And for these filings for the self-employed tax credits, if you filed e-filing when you did your original taxes, you can do e-filing with these as well. And you can also get direct deposit. So when your money comes to you, it can come direct deposit. With ERC, you didn't have that capability.
Oh my goodness. That can come right from the Internal Revenue to your bank account.
Right. That's
oh,
right.
No, that revenue.
Directly. That's a great opportunity.
Yeah. We're gonna have to have.
How does the people that had COVID correlate with this program in terms of, because you mentioned if you had COVID?
Right. So if I was a self-employed person and I had COVID and I couldn't do my business, every day, I can get a tax credit because I had to be out of work. I couldn't work for that time period. Maybe 10 days I was out, and that was a quarantine time. When COVID first came out, you had to be quarantined for at least that 10 days.
Yes, yes.
So you can file for a tax credit. So you had to have filed a Schedule C with the original filing in 2020 or 2021. But you can, possibly get a tax credit based on that.
Oh. That's great.
All right. Very, very good. Very good report, Ms. Candace Jones.
Thank you.
And we'll keep that in, and we're going to expand on that next week. And like I say, we'll try to do something Saturday, Chandler Park, if we can. But if not, we're going to expand on this next week.
Right.
And we're going to come with some more phone numbers. Put in the call and get there's a new call we haven't got yet that give them straight information from the company also. Thank you very kindly. All right. Reverend Ben Farrell.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bibb.
For over 3 weeks, the country been on hold. Some people say the country been out of business. And that is a fact, because when you don't have a Speaker of the House, the country can't operate. And it didn't operate for 3 weeks. During that 3-week period, we had 3 different candidates who wanted to be the Speaker, but for one reason or another, they couldn't make it. But late last night, in a closed-door caucus, the Republican Party met, and they came up, and I want you to share with the audience what they came up with, because who they came up with last night was voted at the public meeting today in the House of Representatives. The floor is all yours, Reverend Ben Farrell. Tell us what happened.
Thank you, Mr. Bibbs. The Speaker of the House, as you stated, Mr. Bibbs,
Yeah.
Johnson, elected Speaker of the House. It's not a household name, but the House ended weeks of chaos. Mike Johnson, a little-known social conservative from Louisiana, did what 3 nominees before him could not: win over support from mainstream Republicans and the far-right group. After weeks of infighting that saw Republicans reject 3 nominees, Mr. Bibbs, the Representative Mike Johnson from Louisiana secured enough party support to become Speaker of the House.
Wow.
Yeah, credit Johnson Halston, the New York Times, who wrote that column. Here's the latest on the Speaker fight. The Representative Mike Johnson of Louisiana won election on Wednesday as the 56th Speaker of the House of Representatives, putting an end to 3 weeks. You stated it, Mr. Bibbs. 3 weeks of chaos that left the chamber without a leader and put the Republicans' division on display.
My goodness.
Yeah, they had a lot of infighting. The Republicans elected Mr. Johnson, who is 51 years old, a little-known and deeply conservative lawmaker, after a tumultuous fight that began after the hard right ousted then Speaker Kevin McCarthy and raged on as the divided House GOP nominated and then quickly discarded 3 other candidates to succeed him. So now the House has a new Speaker, somebody who can put their hands on the gavel and get the country back moving again, Mr. Bibbs. His name is Mike Johnson from Louisiana.
Okay.
Awesome, awesome. I had an occasion to watch the House today as the count was going on. And this young man, I do say young man, 51 years old, had never even chaired a committee in Congress.
Right, it came out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere. And now he's second in line to the President of the United States. That's raw power. First in line is Kamala Harris, who is Vice President of the United States. And then he's next. Powerful seat. He gave an unusual, strong acceptance speech after he was sworn in this afternoon.
Yes.
He didn't waste any time. They went to work. First thing they did was they sent a letter to the United States Senate, telling them there's a new sheriff in town. Oh, excuse me, I mean the new Speaker of the House. Then the next letter went to the President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Yes.
All these were official, voted on by the House, stating that he is the new person that they have to deal with. And in Congress, in case the audience don't know, everything starts in the House. If it can't pass the House, it ain't going nowhere. So we're going to be watching him. And the speech he gave today, he sounds like a young man that knows where he's going.
Right.
Okay, we'll
And
see.
political people, we were calling back and forth all day today after his speech. They have a 5-vote lead over the Democrats. That's why Jeffries could not win,
Yeah.
because he couldn't get over that 214 or 212. Could not get to 217. The Democrats intend to win 5 more seats next year. But with the government going like it's going now, the interest rate is the highest in 30 years on houses. And the interest rate on credit cards going through the roof, in deep trouble. So this young man says he has some things in mind that he's gonna do. And first he's gonna cut the spending. So we'll get a chance to watch and see if they can do it, because they have a 5-vote lead out of 435 votes. They got a 5-vote lead. Real thin margin. But we're gonna watch. It won't be as easy as it looked 3 weeks ago, because nobody would have planned. So now, Jeffries as the minority leader and Johnson as the speaker both congratulated each other and pledged to work together. So we're going to see how that turns out, because they have to work together to move the country, because we're in war in 2 countries. President Biden asked for $100 billion, $60 billion with a B for Ukraine, and the rest of it going to Israel. And they both want more airplane, tanks, and bombs. Airplane, tanks, and bombs. Not food, clothes, and medicine. Because they want to bomb everything they see. And you don't have to go far to see it, Reverend. Turn on the TV, and you'll see how they bombing every day. Last night they bombed schools, hospitals, children. They were dragging them out of buildings that had got blown up. And Israel haven't started yet with the ground troops. This just from the air. So the real war haven't started, because they haven't got the money from the United States yet, because we've been out of business for 3 weeks. So as soon as the Congress get back in session, they got to get that $100 billion
That's a lot of money, Mr. Bibb.
to Ukraine and Israel, so they can buy more bombs, so they can buy more tanks, planes, so they can kill more people. Not more food, not more medicine. to kill.
Yeah.
And I think they killed 700 yesterday. And that's, the war hadn't started yet. President Biden did not ask for a ceasefire, but he asked for a pause. Secretary General of the United Nations asked for a ceasefire. No ceasefire. They got to get the bombing out the way first. So we have to stay tuned on this and keep that report coming like we do in some others. Switching from the speaker to the two wars. And I imagine by us having a speaker now, all of that will be moved to the front to get the money so they can get the tanks, the planes, and the bombs. And you're only doing that for one thing, to kill everything they can find. That's my two songs. Edwin Starr, War. And Marvin Gaye,
What's going on?
What's Going On? You don't need to escalate. Only love can. War.
Absolutely. Listen to me.
And Marvin Gaye, Edwin Starr, 1969.
We don't need to escalate.
Came out in 1971. It ain't changed. You don't need to
Boy, ain't not the
escalate.
answer.
Yeah, well, not the answer. All right. Up to date. Thank you for that fine report. And you'll follow that one up again next week. The update on the speaker, please, Reverend Ben Fair,
Absolutely, Mr. Bibb.
because he'll be going to work in the morning, getting in that big office that Nancy Pelosi used to be in. And if you guys can remember, January the 6th, when they ran over it, and the guy went in and put his feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk, started using her laptop. We're in big trouble. If Lou Rawls was living here, say we're in a world of trouble. we better look that up. I'm about to go back again and get another one. We're in a world of trouble. Thank you very kindly. And while we're here on Morning Joe, MSNBC, little known fact, we want to keep looking up this, Miss Candace, please. The late Congressman Elijah Cummings from Baltimore, Maryland, formed a group 25 years ago, Reverend Fair, a student exchange group with Israel. High school students from both sides, we going over there and they coming over here. And today was the 25th anniversary of this. And fact for you though this, the late Elijah Cummings of Delaware, Congressman Cummings, daughter has taken the project over. And the anniversary speaker was the African-American governor, Westmore of Maryland. So you might be able to find it either on one of those Governor Westmoreland keynote speaker at the event, the daughter taking over.
All right.
And the program is working just wonderfully because it was just going as an exchange student. When it was Congressman Elijah Cummings' idea 25 years ago, not knowing that it would be like this now.
Wow.
And that is what Marvin said in his song. It's the love that's going to
Love
bring
that's
it,
gonna come
not the
Right.
bones. And they've been building up. And they had some of the young men on the program testifying how wonderful it was to learn about the other side of the world.
Mm.
And when you get up close on people you don't know them, then you kind of understand them. Different races, different religions, and all that. But when you get right down to it, it's just people. So both of you trees probably look those two up, and I'm gonna have some other people so we can bring this report next week. Because we might want to try to expand that to help that in that way to overcome all this bombing. All right. Reverend Ben Fair,
Yes, sir.
what's going on in Ohio with redistricting? Because we are going to have an election March 19th, 2024,
Right.
and state reps and state senators will be running the election, but they can't run now because they don't have no territory to run in because the commission have met. Do you have any information on that at all?
Well, Mr. Bibbs, the information that we have is that the commission has not met and they have not set a date to meet. So everything is all quiet down there in Columbus as of now.
Okay, we're gonna have a workshop going here. Mr. Tony Walker and you, I want to get together and get to the headquarters of Egg Holder and find out from that end where does the Ohio suit stand.
All right.
We know where the Alabama suit stand. They went back to court, and the court told them they had to draw the lines over again. But the Ohio suit hadn't been back to court. So if we can't get it from Ohio, let's see if we can get it from the office of Egg Holder. And you did a good job 2 weeks ago reading where they're located and all like that,
Yes.
so that our listening and viewing orders can be up to date on this. And Ms. Candace Jones, you interact with the Board of Elections all the time. Would you check with the Board of Elections and find out when will the petitions be ready? And they're going to give you a date when they have to be ready,
Right.
so we can share that with the citizens. Because the Secretary of State has set a date, because you have to have it so far out, because they have to circulate the petitions to get them back in
Right.
a certain area. They just can't. They got to be somewhere. Because you got to live in the district that you run in.
Right.
And this one that they threw out, they had moved some people out of the district where they were the state reps and state senators now, but they would not be eligible to run for that district. So we get on that one. All right. While we are on that, Ms. Candace Jones, there's two hot issues in the state of Ohio. They're called issues 1 and 2. Would you share with our viewing and listening audience what's going on with them?
Okay, as you mentioned, there are two Ohio issues that are going to be on the ballot, November 7th ballot. The first one I'm going to speak about is Ohio Issue 1. This Issue 1 is not the same Issue 1 that you voted on in August. This is a whole different topic. What you voted on in August was to keep the percentage of votes that are needed for a constitutional amendment. That was defeated. Great. We're moving on now to another election. It just so happens this issue has the same number. So I think a lot of people are confused, and now we want you to vote yes on Issue 1. Issue 1 this time is the reproductive rights for the state of Ohio. And voting yes on issue 1 stops Ohio life-threatening abortion ban, which has no exceptions for rape and incest. So I'm going to read what a yes vote in supporting issue 1 amendment means. It will establish a state constitutional right to make and carry out one's own reproductive decisions, including decisions about abortion, contraception, fertility treatment, miscarriage care, and continuing pregnancy. It will prohibit the state of Ohio from interfering with its constitutional right, except when the state demonstrates that it is using the least restrictive means to advance the individual's health in accordance with the widely accepted and evidence-based standards of care. Allow the state to restrict abortion after fetal viability, defined as the point in the pregnancy when, in professional judgment of a pregnant patient's treating physician, the fetus has significant likelihood of survival outside the uterus with reasonable measures. And it will prohibit the state of Ohio from banning abortion when, in the professional judgment of a physician, an abortion is necessary to protect the pregnant patient's life or health. A no vote opposes the amending of the Ohio Constitution to establish constitutional rights and make and carry out its own reproductive decisions. So this is a very important issue. It's not just about abortion. It's about the care and treatment. It's about contraceptive education and awareness. It's about miscarriage care. So if it were just the yes or no on abortion, that would be different. But this is not just about abortion. It's about the care, and it's about a woman and her family or herself making that decision of how her care should be treated, and not someone making that decision for her. So there are so many times when young women or even girls are raped. And, if this does not pass, then it means that a young girl or a woman that's raped may have to carry that baby, and that could be a traumatic experience for them as well. So I encourage people to get out and vote. You can vote early at the Board of Elections. You can vote by mail. You only have a few more days where you can get your vote by mail application in. If you have an application, get it sent in right away because you need to get your ballot back to you and then mail that to the Board of Elections. I think October 31st is the last day where you can mail your application for your ballot into the Board of Elections to get it back in time for you to mail your ballot in. So if you're not going to vote by mail, early voting at the Board of Elections, remember, take your photo ID with you to vote because that is required. If you plan on voting on Election Day, polls are open at 6:30 a.m., they close at 7:30 p.m. If you're not sure about Election Day, vote early. Go down to the Board of Elections, vote early. We live in Northeast Ohio. We have a nice, Indian summer day here this week, but you never know. We could have a blizzard November 7th, but so don't let anything stop you from doing your duty and voting for this very important issue. So another issue that's on the ballot, a statewide issue, is issue 2. Issue 2 is a yes vote on issue 2 supports the ballot of initiative to legalize marijuana in Ohio, including allowing the sale and purchase of marijuana, which is a division of cannabis control would regulate, allowing adults who are at least 21 years of age or older to possess marijuana, and including a 2.5 ounces of marijuana, and enacting a 10% tax on marijuana sales. Issue 2, again, I said, would legalize and regulate recreational marijuana for adults 21 years or older, they're trying to make it somewhat like the alcohol, 21 years or older, including cultivation, processing, sale, purchase, possession, and homegrown. It is an initiative approved by the voters. If the initiative is approved by the voters in 2023, adults would be able to possess up to 2.5 ounces of marijuana and up to 15 grams of marijuana concentrate. Additionally, individuals would be permitted to cultivate up to 6 marijuana plants at home, while households could cultivate up to 12 plants collectively. And the Division of Cannabis Control, which is this regulating group created under the initiative, would be responsible for regulating and licensing marijuana operations and facilities, and will oversee the compliance and standardization of the marijuana business and production in Ohio. Licensing for distributing facilities would take up to 9 months after the law takes effect, 30 days after approval, then it would be approved. Under Issue 2, marijuana sales would be taxed 10%. The revenue generated from the tax would be directed towards establishing a cannabis society equity and jobs program. This program would be designed to provide financial support and assistance for license applications to individuals who have been disproportionately affected by the past marijuana-related law enforcement. So I just wanted to make sure that I read if this is passed, it'll be a 10% tax, but I wanted to make sure I shared with everyone where that 10% tax is going to, or supposedly going to. So this whole initiative was a coalition to regulate marijuana like alcohol. So they had an initiative that was on a ballot a few years ago too, but it was defeated. So now it's coming back. And if it is passed, Ohio would become the 24th state to legalize marijuana for recreational and personal use. So,
How much of that is tax dollars? Does it say that in that release?
no, it just says enacting a 10% tax.
Yeah,
on-
okay, 10%. Yeah,
Right,
that's
10%.
good.
On the sales.
Right. Now, Reverend, last week you had a copy of the poll.
Yes.
Did you happen to bring that copy with you?
Yes.
Okay, as soon as we finish this, I'll ask Miss a couple of more questions about issue 1. Issue 1, if it loses, what happens?
So if issue 1 loses, then there will be an abortion ban in place, which means it will be illegal to get an abortion for any reason.
Did you say incest?
There are no exceptions for incest or rape if this issue 1 does not pass.
My goodness. It's kind of hardball. Mm-hmm. Well,
And if you know of anyone that's been through a rape experience,
Yeah.
just the rape experience itself is traumatizing.
traumatizing.
But you know, if it's a pregnancy, that's a part of that. That's even more traumatizing. And there are I'm not sure about how many states, but there are some states where the so-called father who impregnated the woman based on the rape is now trying to get father's rights for that child to be able to see that child. So, you know, someone already went through the experience of rape. Now they're going to try to, you know, be involved in the child's
Child,
life.
right.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
It's terrible. Reverend
Wow.
Bob and Wallace College did a poll and you have the results of the poll.
Oh, no, I don't have that poll, Mr. Bibb. I just have the Republican.
Oh yeah. I know you got the Republic, but you don't have that.
No, I had the poll from Baldwin Wallace today.
Okay. Here's what I can tell you about this poll, Miss Candace. This poll was taken last week, and both issue 1 and 2 were leading about 59%
Right.
versus 39%. And it looked like they were running in tandem. So one is carrying the other. And when the poll is that wide, and it was showing a 8% undecided, even when you add the 8% undecided to the no, it's not enough to catch up with it. And I noticed that the no people, when they got the governor and his wife and put him on the commercial, so it'll be interesting to see if another poll comes out. We'll be on the lookout for that.
Right.
And
And the wording on the ballot, if you're reading that wording on the ballot without knowing the background, to me it's a little misleading. The original proposal for the ballot that went to the committee was the way that the amendment is stated, but that was changed. So the wording on the ballot, and I don't have that with me, the wording on the ballot to me is a little misleading and confusing if you're just looking at it. So I just want to make sure people understand that what issue 1 is all about. Issue 1 is the one that was saying is misleading on the ballot.
you have that wording, but not with you tonight.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't bring that with me.
Well, you bring that, and then Reverend Fair, you bring the poll next week,
Yes.
and we'll review this because we got another week, 2 weeks before the election.
Yes.
2 weeks as of yesterday.
Okay.
And we're trying to get much information out about issues as possible. Okay. Any questions on the poll, anyone?
Not questions, but I can share some information on a initiative that I've been working with a organization called BOLD, Black Ohio Leaders for Democracy, on phone banking and canvassing for issue 1. This has been going great. So it's phone banking and canvassing. So this Black Ohio Leaders for Democracy is an organization canvassing and phone banking for the November 7th election. This canvassing and phone banking is taking place across the state of Ohio, Akron, Dayton, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus, Toledo, and Youngstown, and surrounding suburbs of each one of those cities. So there are calls being made, phone banking calls being made to voters to, first of all, make sure they're aware of issue 1. If they have any questions about issue 1, we can explain that to them. But just trying to get some guidance and feel for, if they plan to vote yes or no on issue 1. So in the phone banking so far, things have been going well. We've come across some voters who said yes, they support it. We come across some hang-ups and some that, don't want to share, how they feel about it. So it's just a matter of trying to get the word out there to as many people as possible to make sure they do get out and vote. Quite a few of those that we've contacted on the phone banking are voting early, either by mail or going to the Board of Elections. And during the phone banking process, if they're going to vote by mail, we ask them, do you need an application? And if they say yes, there's an option we click, and an application gets sent out to them that next day, so they can fill it out, turn it back into send it back into the Board of Elections, and get their ballots sent out. The canvassing has been going well also, not only the Cleveland wards, but the some of the suburbs. I think Warrensville was one of the suburbs that was covered the last couple days, Maple Heights, Garfield Heights, and Cleveland areas as well. So it's going very well. It's just a matter of, and the canvassers are actually knocking on the doors and talking to the people. If they're not just leaving the literature information on the door. They're actually knocking on the door and talking to the voters.
And they have literature?
Yes, they have literature. This is the literature that they're passing out. This is just a sample of what it is. And on here, it has the early voting schedule for the Board of Elections and the election day, when the polls are open. So it has some great information in here. And I'm going to express again, if you're going to vote in person, either election day or at the Board of Elections, please make sure you bring your photo ID with you, because that is required now as of the beginning of this year with the voting rules changed.
You better repeat that again, that ID.
If you're going to vote at the Board of Elections in person, or if you're going to vote on election day at your polling location, you must bring your photo ID. It could be a driver's license, it could be a state ID, it could be a passport, it could be your military ID, but it must have a photo ID on it. And a passport is now something you can use for voting. And a passport doesn't have your address on it, but it has your photo on it. Right. So your passport is a legitimate identification for voting.
And tell us what they took out as identity. What they used to use, what they can't use now.
You can no longer use a utility bill. Used to be able to take your utility bill showing your address. You can no longer use that as your an ID. It has to be a photo ID. Now, to vote by mail, you don't have to have a photo ID. So if you have problems in getting a photo ID, you still have a few more days to vote by mail. All absentee ballots or vote by mail ballots may be returned by mail or personally delivered to your county Board of Elections. November 6th, the ballot must be postmarked by, and you cannot take your ballot to the polling location on election day. Vote by mail ballot, you cannot take it to the polling location on election day. So that's why it's so important to get your application submitted so you can get your ballot back and sent back to the Board of Elections, or you can take it down to the Board of Elections before election day.
Very good.
And also, in the past, the day before election day was a voting day where you can vote early at the Board of Elections. That is no longer a day where you can go down and vote early. Sunday would be the last day to vote. The Sunday before election day will be the last day you can vote, which is Sunday, November 5th. The Board of Elections is open 1 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay, very good. Now, before we leave the voting and go to the next subject, share with us, if one wants to do work the next 2 weeks, what's available?
Okay, so right now we have our capacity for phone bankers, and we can still use some more canvassers, door-to-door canvassers. You must be able to get to the location where the canvassing will start. You'll be given a turf, which is a list of addresses that you're going to be going out to. You'll be given that list, and so you need to be able to walk, to carry the literature with you, going up and down steps. If there's a house that has steps on it, you're only going to be outside, but some houses have front steps. to them. So you must be able to do that.
Okay. Where's the location you go if you want to go to work?
The central location where the literature and everything is picked up from is 3558 Lee Road in Shaker Heights. If you want to be a door-to-door canvasser, you have to take a training. So if you're interested in door-to-door canvassing, please give me a call, 216-570-4738, and I can get you signed up for that training. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 more training opportunities this week, and then we'll be able to schedule you to go into the office to get the literature and the tablets. There are tablets that you'll be using because it has what's called the minivan app on it, which it tracks the addresses that you're going to, and you give a response. Either you talk to a person or nobody was home. They track that information.
Oh, that's updated. Very good. Okay, give that phone number one more time because I get calls, people looking for work.
216-570-4738.
And you got 2 weeks, right? As of yesterday. November 7th is election.
November 7th is election, right?
All right, very good. Now switching lanes, we're going from opportunities for voting. Now we're going to opportunities how you can make some money in business for yourself, by yourself, but not alone. Ms. Candace Jones,
Okay.
you have the floor. Tell us about the Transact card.
So, I was introduced, and Mr. Bibb was introduced, and a few others were introduced to what's called a Transact card. And it's a Visa bank card where you can double your dollars on every transaction you make. So, Mr. Bibb and Reverend Fair, you both have credit cards or debit cards that you use on a regular basis, and you swipe those cards or use it for wherever. Like me, I have a credit card and debit card. I use it for just about everything because I don't carry cash with me a lot. I use it even to pay my bills online. So I use it for almost everything. But every time I use a transaction, if I have a Transact card, I can make some what's called Z-Bucks off of that. And I can take those Z-Bucks, and there's going to be stores, online stores that are available, and you can use those Z-Bucks to purchase merchandise with. And we're going to show a little brief video that will talk a little bit about the Transact card, and there'll be more information coming out about this as we learn more. So watch this short video, and it'll give you just an introductory about it.
Thank you.
You work hard for your money. Isn't it time your money worked a little harder for you? A lot harder? Then break free from the limitations of conventional banking and unleash the power of your spending with Transact Card. That's right, the power of your spending. Every time you use your Transact Card, you double your buying power with a new, easy to understand, and more powerful rewards program. You see, Transact Card matches every dollar you spend with the purchase power of a reward dollar called a Z-Buck. Z-Bucks can be redeemed on a variety of goods and services in Transact Card's exclusive marketplace, Z Club. Anything from everyday household items to bucket list vacations. Transact Card, straight up dollar for dollar value. Much more powerful than stingy old school rewards programs. Ever thought the banking game was rigged against you? Transact Card is changing the rules by reworking traditional banking fees and manufacturers' pricing to ensure products and services are more affordable for you. Now, you can enjoy the benefits of building financial momentum with our private, secure banking technology. Power spending unleashed is just the beginning. Transact Card. Now, banking changes forever.
So if you're interested in more information about the Transact card, you can either, again, contact Mr. Bibb or contact me, and we can get you more information. So we were just introduced to it just recently, so we're still learning about all of it. this Transact card is actually still in what's called a pre-launch. They haven't actually launched the official program yet. That will take place November 11th in Las Vegas. Of all places, Las Vegas.
Oh, Vegas, yeah.
So if you're interested in a Transact card, there's some incentives that are being offered if you get your Transact card by the end of October, or if you get it before the November 11th launch date. So if you're interested, give Mr. Bibb a call, 216-681-4619, or Candace Jones at 216-570-4738. And we'd be happy to introduce you to it so you can start saving money and making money as well.
All right. Thank you. Very good. We like to keep the audience knowledgeable of all opportunities that might help their life and make things better for them. We have a few minutes left. We're having a big anniversary next year, Reverend Ben Fair. The Bibb Record Shop is going back to Cincinnati, Ohio,
All right.
for the music festival.
All right.
It used to be the Cool Jazz Festival, but the cigarettes are bad for you, so we don't use that name anymore.
Okay.
It's now the Cincinnati Music Festival,
Yeah.
and we're gonna have a anniversary of going there. We're gonna have 3 nights and 4 days in Cincinnati, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we'll be getting a list of some of the audience pretty soon. Ms. Sharon Penman is in charge of that operation, and pretty soon we will have the promoters of the events from Cincinnati on our podcast to tell us what to expect when we spend those 4 days in Cincinnati.
Okay.
You won't want to miss that because we've been going down there for 5 or 6 decades. And it's going to be for the new generation to take it over now with the new music. And the new music. The old music won't be down there to be the new music now. But we're going to have one last good time down there at the anniversary.
Okay.
And so we look forward to giving you information as it comes. Ms. Candace Jones, would you give us any...
Yes, I'd like to share some information on a pop-up shop extravaganza celebrating National Entrepreneur Month, which is November, and Veterans Day, presented by Path to 7 Figures. This event will take place Saturday, November 11th, 2023, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Bring your holiday shopping list. There will be many vendors with awesome merchandise to purchase. There will be special guests sharing great business ideas. There's a gentleman from Emeritus Financial Services on financial strategies. There's a gentleman, Michelle Nuoff from J. Galt Financial Suite, helping business on their cash flow and growth, and a gentleman from Network in Action. This event will take place at the Willoughby Hills Community Center, 35400 Chardon Road in Willoughby Hills, Ohio, 44094. There'll also be one of our past guests, someone from Step Forward, talking about how to think like a CEO.
All right.
And what a great way to celebrate National Entrepreneur Month and Veterans Day.
Okay. Reverend Fair,
Fantastic.
did you have a poll for us for the Republican Party?
Yes, I do, Mr. Bibb.
All right, get that in there right quick.
All right. We
before
have
get out
the
of here.
Republican primary poll.
Yeah.
With ex-President Donald Trump at 57.6%. We have the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, at 15.1%.
Oh, he pick it up a little bit.
Yeah, we have the
Did you say 15.1?
15.1. And we have this Nikki Haley, she's at 7.9%. And then we have Ramaswamy, he's at 5.6. Chris Christie is at 3.0, and Tim Scott is at 2.0.
And for the last few seconds, I'd like to remind our audience that November, we'll go back to the second and fourth Wednesdays for the podcast.